There's a lot of talk these days about big data. Maybe it's used in a big brother kind of way, or maybe it's used by a medical professional to talk about the tool used in a scientific breakthrough. Big data can mean a lot of things, but all it really means is a huge set of data that can be analyzed to reveal patterns and associations. Seth Stephens-Davidowitz is a former Google data scientist, a current contributing op-ed writer for the New York Times, and author of the book Everybody Lies: Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell Us About Who We Really Are.
Spent a few years locked in my apartment, downloading data, scraping websites, talking to companies to ask for their data, and then analyzing it and trying to say, what is all this information? Now there's so much information out there, this big data from the Internet. What can we learn about who we really are from all this data?
Stephens-Davidowitz says what exactly he was looking at depended on the day. But he looked at anonymous, aggregate data collected about the population at large from a whole variety of sites.
Much of it from Google, but other sites as well. I studied Pornhub, a pornographic website. I studied Stormfront, a hate site. I studied Wikipedia data, I studied Facebook data, so lots of different data sources.
And again, the data was aggregate, so Stephens-Davidowitz says there was no identifying information available to him. Still, he was able to uncover a lot of information about a whole host of topics.
I found out that everybody lies, that you can't really trust what people tell you. For example, on social media, people are constantly bragging to their friends and exaggerating certain aspects of their personality. So if you compare circulation for the National Enquirer, which is a tabloid, and the Atlantic Monthly, which is an intellectual magazine, the National Enquirer sells more copies, but on Facebook, people are 45 times more likely to say they're reading the Atlantic. So people want to impress their friends, how intellectual they are, and not really give their friends a true picture of who they are. I kind of looked into these areas where there may be some discomfort and where people may not be fully honest. And, where there's some stigma around it. There's stigma around racism for good reason, and there's stigma around depression for less good reason. But if you look at these patterns, you see that a lot of the things we thought about the world were wrong. So racism, for example, most people, if you ask them, will say that they're not racist. Are you racist? No. That's the answer that everybody would give. But you see on Google, people make racist searches with striking frequency. Particularly, they look for jokes mocking African Americans.
Sometimes he found that almost the opposite of what we would assume to be true on a given topic was actually his conclusion. For example, it's long been assumed that violent movies will lead to violent crime. But Stephens-Davidowitz says that shouldn't necessarily be taken at face value.
What you actually see is when a violent movie comes to a city, violent crime doesn't go up, it doesn't stay the same. It drops. It goes down. People commit fewer crimes when a violent movie comes to town. So how can that possibly be? What happens is violent movies attract young men who are particularly likely to commit crimes. And basically, it takes them away from pool halls or clubs or bars where they might get drunk and would be really likely to commit a crime, and instead has them sit sober in a movie theater. So ironically and almost paradoxically, a violent movie, by attracting potentially violent people to sit in a theater for a few hours and not drink, actually lowers violent crime.
And sometimes Stephens-Davidowitz says the data suggests that we aren't all so different after all. For example, what do you think makes someone more likely to cheat on their taxes? Is it geographic locations, class status, a specific religion or gender? Stephens-Davidowitz says that actually, no, none of those are reliable indicators.
It seems like the biggest driver of tax cheating is information, that there are certain things you can do on your taxes that are unlikely to be detected and that can give you a little more money from the federal government. And the people who do this are not any less moral than anybody else. They're no more likely to believe in God or no more likely to vote for a particular political party or have any particular values. They're just more likely to have information about this tax trick. So the difference between people who cheat on their taxes and people who don't cheat on their taxes is not a difference of morality, it's a difference of information.
Okay, So big data can find a lot of interesting trends. But Stevens Davidowitz says this kind of data can also be used by medical researchers to help patients.
Researchers have found you can predict symptoms, diseases you might have, just based on the symptoms you search online. So they did a beautiful study with pancreatic cancer, where they could see people who got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and people who didn't get diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And they could see what symptoms they were searching in the months leading up to a diagnosis and find out really subtle patterns in the symptoms that were either suggestive of pancreatic cancer or were signs that someone was very unlikely to have pancreatic cancer.
Stevens Davidowitz says there's a dark side to big data. His data was anonymous, but he says there should be some concern at how companies can purchase this information on specific individuals.
The patterns that are much more powerful than we realize, and companies can see little things about you. A lot of things we don't even realize correlate with behaviors. So, for example, if you like certain things on Facebook, researchers can see how high your IQ is or guess how high your IQ is. So you may like something on Facebook, and researchers may say because other people who like that on Facebook have low IQs, you're likely to have a low IQ. And a company may get that information and say, we don't want to hire you because you like these things on Facebook. This means you're probably low IQ. It's scary stuff.
Stevens Davidowitz says the only real protection is to vet your social media profiles and unlike any pages that may look bad in the eyes of hiring managers. In the end, he says he hopes his book can simply help people realize that we are closer to the truth now than ever before.
The way to understand people for 80 years was to ask them, to just say, what are you doing? Why do you do that? What are you going to do? To conduct some sort of survey, and everybody lies, as I said, the title of my book. You can't really trust what people say, but thanks to the internet, we now can see kind of a new side of them and see much more honest data than I think we've ever had. I think real deep insights into who we are that is very different than who we thought we were.
Everybody Lies by Seth Stevens Davidowitz is available now online and in stores. For more information about all of our guests, visit our site at viewpointsonline.net. You can find archives of past programs there and on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm Gary Price.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-568-1647. That's 800-568-1647. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-568-1647.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-835-1478. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-835-1478. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher for donating. Call now, 1-800-835-1478. That's 1-800-835-1478.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of Mediatrax Communications. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook to learn about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on iTunes. Plus, you'll always find podcasts of our segments and information about our guests at viewpointsonline.net. Join us again next week for your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.